What is going on, everybody? Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for the week of October 25th through the 31st of 2021. Astrologer Brian Scarborough here, fixed air moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. Woo! What a week! Halloween week. Definitely a big week. There's a lot going on. The astrology kind of has that Halloween feel. But at the same time, there's some really beautiful, positive aspects going on. I would say there's definitely things to look forward to. But it's also a Sun Square Saturn week. We're going to see Mars Ingress into Scorpio on the 30th, right before Halloween. So there's there's some spooky, energy. But it is Scorpio season now. It's there's a depth, right? There's so much inside. There's passion with Scorpio. So, our passion is getting lit up by the sun. We haven't had a lot of energy in Scorpio since last year. Of course, the moon goes through for 2.5 days every cycle. And we just had a Venus transit through there for a month. But yeah, and both those planets, Venus and the moon, don't like to be there. The sun doesn't mind and Mars loves it. So it is nice getting Mars coming out of detriment in Libra and coming into Scorpio, because this gives us an intuitive drive. It gives us kind of this really powerful warrior aspect that we can navigate within our ego, right? Lots of shadow. I'll be honest. I think that's why it has this Halloween feel to me this week. Is not only do we have Halloween coming, but talk about shining a light on a lot of our shadows. Sun Square Saturn is, a no-joke time. It is the third quarter square of that cycle. We had the conjunction in January. We had the first quarter square in, I believe, the early April, end of May. April, May, no. Anyways, my months are a little off right now. But right around April, March, April. So... No, April, yeah, end of April. Taurus season. We had that first core square, and then, of course, we had the opposition in July in Leo, and now we're at this third quarter square. So there's, these heavy sort of weighted decisions in life. These ones come from a more passionate, more deep place, kind of dealing with shadow, it does feel like a collective dark night of the soul. I mean, last week was intense, especially with full moon energy and the Pluto squares. And then now it's we're fully in. We're not in the lobby. We're not in the waiting room anymore. We're fully in. And it's there's so many decisions. There's so many things that we've had to do, so many choices we've had to make. Not even just over the last year or 18, 19 months, but 7 years almost. Since Saturn was in Scorpio, it feels which was 2014. So there's been these big life-changing moments all to get us kind of to this place of how we alchemize life right now. I really like Scorpio in a sense of it is this transmutation. It is this alchemization. So in many, many, many ways, we're taking this physical world and what we're trying to connect to in the future, and what's bonding it all together here, and how are we turning what may just look like lead into gold. And that's kind of the beauty. I think we can all be on this sort of investigative hunt this week, trying to uncover where that gold lies in our life, what the full connection is, what do we want to put all of our energy, all of our drive, all of our passion into. And I think it's important that we make sure that it really is the things that we're most called to within our soul right now. It's definitely not a week to back down from your soul calling. Scorpio is such an intuitive psychic sign, fixed water. So we're in this place now of you got to trust your gut. You got to trust your soul in every aspect of your life. And you don't want to hide that, because Scorpio season also brings this hidden element. And we really don't want to hide our truth. We really don't want to hide or, be shady around the things that need to be alchemized to bring gold into our life. This is definitely a time where if it comes up, if it gets felt and it's deep or it's scary or it's hard, it's important. And we have to, look at that as such. I like this week with Venus square Neptune. like, especially coming out of a very intense Libra season and having this Venus in Sagittarius, which is really just trying to like bring some fun and excitement into our life and some freedom when it comes to relating and where the horizon can go with the outer world or with the certain things in life that we do want to manifest or what feels good to us. And it squares Neptune. And I think, in so many ways, this can show us like the ultimate beauty spiritually. I think this is such a powerful week spiritually. We're going to see Saturn at 7 degrees. The sun is going to square Saturn at 7 degrees. And we're getting a lot of Neptune aspects with squares from this Venus and then quincunxes with Mercury for the third and final time, now direct. And this is the final week of Mercury shadow as well. So, I think that like we're looking at some really positive stuff about this vision of beauty that we can manifest into our life. But I think it comes back to like this passion and like, what are you like sticking your energy to right now? Scorpio's sticky, like it wants to hold, it kind of, can be obsessive, but this is where we have to make sure that we're obsessing over the right beautiful things and where the story can go. What do we know too? It's like you almost know what is going to be beautiful in your life. And with this North Node finishing up the rest of this year here and at this first and 0 degree that it's going to come to in Gemini, it's like, whoa, there's been so much information. We don't want to just look over things. And that can be kind of where this Venus Neptune is at, where we can just look over things and be like, it's not important, or this is have this idealized sort of energy around the relationships. And at this point, it's like we just cannot bullshit ourselves. And this Scorpio season is going to help with that, because if we keep falling into loops and cycles, we're going to get smacked with that Sun-Saturn square on Saturday, right when Mars comes into Scorpio. So it's definitely heavy, and it's big decisions, big decisions about people and the merger of life and a lot of alchemization. It's also, we're going to see this Venus sextile Jupiter, which is the two benefics in sextile. That's really nice. So we do get the square to Neptune, where there can be so many visions and so many like spiritual lessons learned, kind of getting out of cycles, getting out of patterns that are self-undoing in a way, because we see through it, because we're being smart, using common sense. And then we get the sextile to Jupiter. And it's also going to be with Juno. So Juno's also sextile Jupiter, and Juno and Jupiter, of course, are, married. That's how Juno became a thing. She married Jupiter, became the goddess of all goddesses. And of course, the goddess Venus is going to meet with that Juno. So, which they're both going to be in square to Neptune. So it's like, there's like this fine line. And Scorpio season also deals with boundaries. So we have to know our boundaries, and we have to know this sort of fine line when it comes to this outer persona, this outer world, the outer relationships, and make sure that, man, we really are using our common sense and our mind and being clear with where our adventure of what we're going to turn to gold is going. So it's a heavy alchemization week. Hopefully not just looking over, glossing over things, just like it's going to come back around. Like we're not going to get out of this. Like next month is intense, and a lot of these Venus, things that we might be going through, whether it is relationships or our own relationship to ourselves, and how we need to really show ourselves that unconditional love through somewhat chaotic, transformative times. As I did mention, it is sort of this dark night of the soul energy. I feel that intuitively, and of course Scorpio is that fear, sign in many ways, and entries and exits. So we have to be open to what beautiful things can enter, while simultaneously being willing to let go of things that we no longer have a passion or a depth for, that we're really looking to move into the future with. Saturn in Aquarius, this is taking an unconventional route into the future, and it's spiritual at that 7th degree. So, this is, there's so much great awakening stuff in the chart. Like, I'll be honest, like this is like really taking your physical world to the highest frequency of the future, and the character of self, and the depth and the power that you have to transmute a world right now, and a reality and a realm, into something that's beautiful in your life, while simultaneously dealing with a lot of dark, a lot of nitty gritty, a lot of stuff that we just have to work through. I think we're all going to feel it on some level. Like, wow, this is coming up right now. Like, yeah, this is coming up right now. And it's a important decisions that we've already been building on. So for some people, we could have been making big decisions over the last few years that got us to a point now where we're kind of, I don't want to say by any means, we're just good to go, but like in maybe a better standing place to like navigate this energy, where I'll be honest, like if you weren't listening to that call, you weren't following your soul, your passion, oh man, this feels like one of those rip things away kind of weeks, because it doesn't serve your highest spiritual purpose. And it's hard, Saturn before Pluto really, kind of was the end of the rope. It kind of was the end of the road when it comes to cycles in astrology, and it ruled over the death aspect or endings. And Pluto came through and got rulership of Scorpio with Mars and change that. But, here we have a sun in Scorpio with Mars coming in, of course, making it even more powerful, being the Lord there. So the dispositor and the sun and its dispositor Mars will be there, and Mars will be very strong. So it definitely brings a higher level of intensity and cutting that we're going to have to transmute. We're going to have to get into the deep, dark places and the decisions. And it is, like I said, it's the decisions that we've been building up on that are getting us to this point. And we have to be willing to let cycles end. Scorpio is just a good reminder that all things in life begin and they end, no matter what it is. This desk, this computer, this camera, like they're not going to last forever. This microphone's not going to last forever. It just is what it is. So some things in life just are not meant to last forever. We can hold on to the physical aspect of these things, but do we really love it? Do we have passion for it? So that's where I think we really have to check ourselves as we're going through this week and be like, wow, do I really have a passionate bond to this iPad that I'm looking at? I mean, kind of. Like, I use it all the time for these videos, and I use it for work, and like I would be a little upset if it just disappeared on me. But would it destroy me? No. I don't have that much passion for it. It's just a physical thing. So we have to look at these aspects in our life kind of like that this week. Like, is this everything? And I think this comes down to relationships. This comes down to jobs. A lot of this comes down to the matrix. I'm going to be honest. With this Pluto being direct and finishing up in Capricorn, which is redefining our time and space. Capricorn, Saturn, I mean, this is time space. Saturn rules over the physical realm, time space reality, time space continuum, time space reality, which we all inhabit. And Pluto is changing our time and space. So maybe you felt like time is just such an interesting thing, especially at these latter degrees. And I noticed, especially when Pluto turned direct, it was like, whoa, like, I started having conversations with people about time more and more. Like, this time aspect became like, it's just not what I remember time being. And some would say that as you get older, which would make sense because Saturn rules aging and age and time, as I just mentioned. But we're seeing time work in different ways and on different levels for different people, depending on the frequency they have chosen to come into this life and be at right now. Some would say that the more connected and tapped in you are, the faster time goes. So it feels like there's just not enough hours in the day to do matrix stuff. And I think that is what Pluto's hitting the hardest right now, is you could feel like, wow, I want to do all these things, but the day is just... And with a sun in Scorpio being the dispositor of that Pluto, I mean, we're going to start to feel these transformations take place. And it is about the physical stuff. It's about these structures in life and the matrix itself, as it's going to start to erode really over the next couple years here, but especially this year with the return of the Pluto to America's Pluto at 27 degrees of Capricorn, which it's just not going to stop. Pluto's going there February 22nd, 22, with the South Node in Scorpio being the dispositor of that. So that's why all those decisions made up until now, and then I think decisions that come this week with the Sun Square Saturn are of the utmost importance, that you make sure that you have a strong passion, that it has a soul purpose to you, that it has depth. If it's just a surface level thing or a physical thing, like, my phone's great, but Like, hey, some things, this is what I'm saying, it's got to be deep. Surface level, physical, like, important, but not as important as what you need on a soul level and what you really want to, marry yourself to. Scorpio's kind of like marriage. So we're looking at where the greatest bonds can be made in every aspect of our life. And there's so much fixed energy in the chart now, and coming into, especially next week with Mars locked and loaded in Scorpio, like, this is life force energy. It's very important energy. You look at the tarot, we got the World card, and even the Wheel of Fortune. It always has these 4 fixed signs, and we're seeing, of course, a lot of energy in Aquarius with Jupiter and Saturn, and we're seeing a lot of Scorpio energy with Mercury coming in, which Mercury won't come in this week, but next week Mercury will be in, Mars will be in this week, the Sun, and of course Uranus and Taurus. So it does leave this hole in Leo. We won't have anything there except when the moon transits, but that's why Leo's important. We have to remember the passion, and we have to remember our heart and what lights us up, and the love that we can, shine out into life. It's going to be important as we're making some of the biggest decisions for our future, our connection, our frequency, the depth of what we want to hold on to in life, and our values. And we have to make sure that our values here, next week, we got Sun opposite Uranus. Like, we got to make sure that our values they're going to go into the future. Whatever physical form that you are attaching to, whether it is a human, a person, relationship, a job, does it have a place in your future, and does it hold value for the future? Uranus is going to test that next week, but we're getting a prep for that this week. So it's a lot. There is a beautiful aspect. There's an amazing yod on Wednesday when that moon comes into Cancer. We're going to have Venus in Sagittarius sextiling with Jupiter, and the moon's going to come in and make this yod for a couple hours in Cancer. And that puts a lot of pressure, not only we're talking about Leo energy and these fixed energies and this life force energy within us that is so important, but also really this inner, security, this inner, having this vision, having the relationships that are going into the future, having this belief that your future is meaningful, having this belief that the connections and the people in life are meaningful and have a bigger purpose, while simultaneously making sure that you're not just surrendering your deepest part of yourself. Like, Cancer is this amazing energy within us that really is this, it's like the most personal of the signs. Like, of course, Aries kicks off with, our instinct to just kind of move around and survive. But it's not until we get to Cancer that we really get this foundation of who we are. So we, this foundation, this security within ourselves to create abundance is going to be so important. We're going to have that security. We're going to have that depth and really this passion to, glue things together. As we are seeing things get shattered, we're starting to see Saturn and Uranus are going to get closer and closer to their third and final square, which I believe is December 23rd, right after the Venus station retrograde on December 19th with Pluto. So that's just coming back, and we already saw it from Helios. So this might be the most intense window here from now until the end of this year of sort of this chipping away of this matrix that we've all been so used to and so comfortable in for so long. And I wouldn't say everybody's been comfortable, but I mean, many people have lived a decently comfortable life. And I know we've all had our trauma. We've all had our ups and downs, but this is a little bit different. Nobody's ever experienced what we're coming into now that's alive on this planet. So we have to treat it as such, be present, be here, be now, and keep progressing into our future and keep making smart decisions that are going to hold our future together based upon this frequency and this energy that you emit and this life force energy. It's important right now with so much fixed energy to really remember not only your confidence and your values and your heart and how you can shine and how you can create and how you can be truly authentically you, but how you can get really intimate with yourself and with others, and where, we have to learn to trust too. So we went through Libra season, we've balanced out, we've done relationships. Well, Scorpio becomes this aspect where we have to trust and get deeper and have that intimate connection. And it doesn't have to always be sexual, but it does, of course, bring sexual energy into the chart as well. And especially with Mars coming into Scorpio at the end of the week, there's definitely this need for passion, this desire for passion and connection. And of course, people with Aquarius is part of that too. People are so important in our life, and we're starting to find tribe energy. We're starting to find where, who's going into the future and who isn't. And it's important, I think, that we pay attention this week to where that future is going and to the people in our lives, also what they're doing. And, pay attention to who's kind of being shady too. Scorpio season can bring shady kind of energy where people are it's a little Seven of Swordsy, like a little like, oh, what are you doing over there with those swords, and why are you holding them on the blade? That looks a little weird. Kind of reminds me of Bill Gates's little, interview that he had recently, where he's just like, he didn't like the Epstein questions, he got a little fidgety, didn't want to give the full authenticity of those questions. Didn't even answer the questions, of course, but this is the energy we're dealing with. There's going to be a lot of unauthentic stuff going on, and especially with a Pluto here in Capricorn, with these Neptune squares, with Venus. If you think that, you're going to get some big truth revealed from anything that comes through a black screen, and this could even, of course, I've said this before, but like this channel, you're watching it on a screen, you really come back to making your own powerful decisions. I think that yacht is helping with that. Take information where we get it, but don't expect anybody to come through. Like, this is where we got to get back to our life force and make big decisions for really what lights us up and gives us passion in life through it's intense times, through possible, fear really coming up to the surface. I don't think we can escape this. I think some people, of course, have made better decisions to get them through it right now, but nobody, we're all going to have to deal with something. There's all something that we've repressed, and this is the week where kind of feels like an eruption, like a volcano, kind of that like volcanic energy of, oh yeah, the volcano's fine, it's just sitting there. Maybe a volcano goes off this week. I don't know why that just popped into my head, and all of a sudden, lava everywhere. So we're going to have to deal with our own lava. We're going to have to deal with our own heart, our passion, our connection, where the future is going. And it's going to be deep. It's going to be intense. But there's these beautiful aspects. And we got the two benefics in sextile. And by the end of the week, Mercury will also trine over to that Jupiter. Again, giving us such a positive outlook if we're willing to understand what brings beauty and balance into our life and how to make big decisions for our future. That are going to really bring everything into center in our life, which I think this Mercury retrograde helped with. I did a lot of, research on this Mercury retrograde. If you've been watching for a while, I was like, this Mercury retrograde in Libra could bring some really weird stuff. Well, this is the last week of shadow. So, we'll see what happens, but definitely with the other aspects that are going on in the chart, it's just like anything is possible right now. So just kind of have to be open to whatever gets shown and projected and be able to alchemize that, because I think that's really where this week has a lot of positivity, is being really powerful within yourself to alchemize what is taking place in your life, whether you have to make these big decisions. A lot of it's based on the thing, and, hold true to what your soul wants. It's important. And whatever that means to anybody, I don't think there's anything right or wrong about it. What's also interesting is Neptune has been and is still in a semi-square with Saturn. Well, Venus in square to that Neptune, guess what that does? That puts Saturn in semi-square to Venus, and it makes Saturn this midpoint of the Venus-Neptune square as well. So everything kind of filters through Saturn. It's the strongest planet. It's been ruling the astrology for a long time. Such big decisions based on the spiritual frequency that we all hold as individuals, and making sure that you're taking the path that feels most unique to you, even if it's alienated. Like, you have to be smart and objective about your own needs and structure and where that adventure can take you. And is it taking you higher spiritually or not? And are we falling for a spell? Because a lot of this Neptune with a Pluto direct coming, it's like more spell, more propaganda that we're going to see more of next year with Jupiter coming into Neptune. But also, I think it's important to remember like how powerful and beautiful it is getting a Neptune and Jupiter in Pisces if you're willing to really use that energy spiritually. Oh my gosh. Talk about cracking into the universe and the code through your own connection and bringing everything together through what may be a chaotic time, but it could be very beautiful too. Well, let's look at the charts here. I believe I made it this button. I did. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right, so this is Sunday. We're going to go back in time to where we're at for Monday. All right. So Monday, 2 degrees Scorpio, definitely an emotional day. Moon is going to finish up in Gemini, and definitely like going to feel like a split day on Monday. It's going to feel like very edgy, especially with that edge that Scorpio's bringing. Like, having the sun come into Scorpio already brings an edge, and then it's emotional, and then the moon's going to come into Cancer, and it's like extra emotion, and it's going to trine the sun. But before that, it's like we could already feel a little helter-skelter, a little all over the place. Like, oh my gosh, what information we just started the week, and this is already what is coming into my personal life and in my environment, or out into the world even, as we are starting to see Venus at 19 degrees on Monday, squaring Neptune, and in that 45 degree to Saturn. So we have this, little triangle action here with two 45s to Saturn and a square. So definitely, pressure, and Saturn's at 7, which I think is so beautiful for taking us higher spiritually. There's a divine essence to our structure right now. And that's one of the most beautiful things about this Saturn that I think can be really embraced, is that this is the biggest like soul destiny decisions for, really like your freedom for one, but like following a soul path to the unknown and trusting that that's going to happen while making the decisions to get there, and the people too, through a collective that's really going through this. But some people want to pick a wave. There's 2 waves to Aquarius, so it's definitely like, are you picking the higher wave or the lower wave energetically and spiritually? And are you taking those people with you? And are you seeing the expanse and the beauty and the magic that can come if you're making those big decisions? So if you're not getting spelled, this is where people are making some of the biggest decisions ever right now, because they know their value, they know their worth, they know what they want, they have the passion, the drive, the desire. And the moon comes into Cancer and does give us this, sensitive energy, but it's going to, trine Mars early in the morning and then trine over to the sun as well. And this is like really letting your gut help you make those decisions, really helping you see through things, trusting your intuition. Intuition's so important. That's where a lot of the magic is at. And we don't want to lose sight of that or forget about that, but we also have to be present. And I think that's another part of the Saturn being so heavily aspected on a day like this is, we got to be present in the physical and not just look over everything, or not just push things down and hide things. Too much is going to come up. If you push things down on Monday, no matter what information shows up, no matter how crazy or helter-skelter life might feel, we kind of just got to take that authority for what's going to make us feel good and what connects us. And we see Mercury come off the Quincunx to Uranus, which was yesterday. So, it's almost like that weird energy of trying to figure out the individuated path to value while simultaneously having this need with Mars here in Libra too, and a Mercury retrograde in Libra, like feeling like we need someone to kind of come along with us or push us along or give us the okay. It's definitely a weird one with the mind. Like, no, I can do this, but man, I would really like, if I had some companionship along the way. on this journey with that Venus in Sagittarius. But Monday's not exactly. I feel like it's kind of wild, like energetically. I feel like, oh wow, yeah, here we go. This is what we're starting off with. Also interesting, weird money aspects with Venus square Neptune. Like, definitely, well, what's really happening with money? Like, where is it going? What's the future look like? What's over the horizon when it comes to money? As we're also seeing, Venus pull off this semi-square to the sun. So there is a lot of Venus aspects coming in here as it builds up with a sextile to Jupiter as well. Tuesday, we get a little quincunx with the moon and Saturn. And we also get squares to Chiron, and it'll square Mercury. So there's somewhat T-square energy, but Mercury's too small and too far away from Chiron. But I think Tuesday's definitely, we're kind of feeling everything. The sun's going to be at 3 degrees, so it's expanding sort of the hidden and the unknown in our personal lives that we're going to have to get deep into and really feel. And that feeling can start so many things, and we want to, try and start things that empower us and try and start things that make us feel good. And I think we're looking for this security and looking for this feel good energy. And it's going to sextile Uranus too in Taurus. So like there's definitely an outlook here, and things are trying to take us higher and further and give us the insight we need. A lot of it's about your gut and really what makes you feel comfortable, while simultaneously, like, not just, I feel like even with Venus exactly square Neptune on Tuesday, like we're just like, the physical things that could take me into the future or take me into the expanse or on the journey that I really want to go on. Like, I'm not going to do that because I have to do this Pluto thing in Capricorn, and I have these responsibilities to these aspects of this, physical world that are everything, that are going to be here forever. And that's the craziest thing about this time we live in, is all that stuff that we thought society that was going to take us the farthest and the highest. Yeah, well, maybe hard, maybe, but a hard maybe not. Like, those things might not even exist. So that great job that we had or always wanted, like, is that even a thing in the future? Like, is that even, like, that company, that corporation? Like, solid questions to investigate. Maybe not. But we're seeing, like, what really has integrity. So maybe it does. If it had integrity and character as a business or a corporation or a structure, it'll probably survive. But if it didn't, I don't know. Just being honest. That's what Pluto's kind of destroying right now, is false character, false integrity in this system and the society that we all inhabit. And we're starting to see Venus even come into that semi-sextile with that. And Mars is pulling off of the square and getting close. Mars is looking over at Scorpio like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait until Friday. I think it's actually Saturday morning. It's the 30th. Saturday at 7:30. Like, I cannot wait to get in there with you, son, and party and get deep and, penetrate into the direction that my soul feels the most called for. Like, I got the message from Pluto. I know where to go. I figured out what's going to bring balance into my life, and I'm going full speed, going deep into it. So there is definitely, some nice aspects coming, but there's something too about, like, not losing ourselves in any part of an illusion or weighing out aspects that, do they really, like, are they really the thing? I think we all have to, that's what's going to come up, is like, we're going to figure out or get tested with aspects this week that are like, is this really where I'm going right now? So Wednesday, I think, is a super special day. The sun's going to be at 4 degrees, which is already opening up a bunch of doors. It's like break down, break through, as Christopher Witecki would say. And I love that saying because it's a Uranian degree. So we can feel like we're breaking down. And we have a yod to the moon from Venus and Jupiter. So we have these two benefics, really, like the moon can be a benefic too in some practices. So we have this really beautiful yod for a couple hours Monday morning and Monday afternoon, depending on where you are. That's like, it's really this direction. And like, it reminds me of with Saturn at 7 and the moon in Cancer, it like reminds me of the Chariot card. And it's just having the emotional stability within yourself to plow forward into a new direction that maybe is uncharted, it's innovative, it's new, you've never done it before, but you feel secure because you're in a place to break through, and trusting your intuition and trusting that it's going to bring beauty, and there's light over the horizon, and there's things to be happy and joyful about. And I would say that even Venus square Neptune for this, as we also get the moon trine Neptune, a lot of Neptunian energy, is really having the faith to believe. You know, there's like a strong belief aspect here that, and you know what, it's interesting having the South Node in Sagittarius, and like we don't want to just get caught up in beliefs or gloss over things. It has to be a belief based on your ultimate like independent truth, and not just a story. Because I feel like there's stories this week, stories to keep people in something they don't even want to be in, or in a fear of something. And there's all these fears, no matter, what aspect or where you're at in life. I feel like we all are at this place where we're having to transmute some kind of fear, even if it's, some people, like I will never get the thing in my arm. I just won't. But am I scared of it? No, I'm not. I'm just not going to do it. I've made that decision as from my soul. But there's things going on too in the world where they're like, right, coming out and forcing. They're saying they're going to come and force, like in Australia. That's going to bring a level of fear, even if you're not, like for me, okay, that would bring fear into my life. So we might, that's where it's almost like there's just uncontrollable things that's another thing that Pluto and Scorpio show us, is that, uncontrollable things happen. But still have to draw boundaries, still have to, be a warrior in these times for what your soul believes in. Kind of a little tangent, but yeah, Wednesday's an important day. I think you can have big breakthroughs if you're following the direction and leaving what is behind. That it no longer has that passion. It doesn't have glue. It's not going to hold. It's shattering. So what is shattering in your life right now? That doesn't, that's not, you don't have to like put it back together, but like really what can you bond together right now with where you're at and the direction you want to go, and really go in that direction that you're most into. And if you're most into it, I think this is it. This is great. So I think that there's a lot of beauty, and we're seeing Venus start to meet up with Juno here. And it's also a degree away from that sextile, which is making the yod. So there's just a lot of beauty that can come through the unconventional route, and moving forward with your gut instinct and with your intuition, and even with the trine. Like there's a lot of cool stuff on Wednesday. Like I really like Wednesday's chart, and we are starting to see Saturn come to 4 degrees. So we're really starting to feel these decisions, and it's decisions on the direction. It's decisions on, can you break free from chains in life? I feel like we all are chained at some area of our some area or aspect in our life, and we gotta break through if our soul and if our intuition, and if we just know it's not right, or if it's not gonna hold, we have to be very honest with ourselves. So honesty and trust with ourselves. And it is so rainy. I wonder if you guys can hear that. It's storming like crazy in California right now. Yeah, through the storm, like what's going to hold through the storm and what's not. And can we believe in the future while simultaneously holding your truth is very powerful. As we're going to see that moon finish off the day with a square to Mars, and it does kind of start off almost, but it's really squaring the midpoint too. So it's in that yod, and then it's squaring the midpoint and Spica, which is the judge of Libra. So it is getting sort of this Martian mercurial square in cardinal energy, like direction and drive is so important. And even being in a yod with Venus, and Venus being in a sextile with Jupiter, I just feel like, yes, relationships and people and what we do and the decisions we make again, are so crucial, but we have to really use the yod and remember what's most personal to us is the most important. So whatever in your life you feel like is the most important for your essence of yourself, that is definitely crucial, and you don't want to not follow where that's taking you because somebody else wants you to go another direction or something. This is some of the biggest decisions of like the relationship to self, and really your depth and power, that's part of the alchemization process. Thursday, we're going to have the sun and the moon in square. The moon's going to come into Leo. And yeah, this is a big one because it's also a T square to the sun in Scorpio. The moon will be opposing Saturn as well. So it's just going to be a very, very heavy emotional closeout to what's already been a very, I would say, emotional lunation cycle, this Libra lunation. And especially with that extremely like powerful full moon in Aries where nobody could hide from it. And we all felt like, wow, this is the area in my life that I need to bring more balance to within myself and my drive and my assertion, that's going to bring more beauty, and how I can relate that. And then this one's really coming back into the heart, and being able to really express what you've learned or what showed up or what shadow has come up, so that you can form the right bond here for the future of your life. And again, it's a big decision week. It always is when you get a week with the sun square Saturn, and then especially a third quarter square with the moon in opposition to that Saturn. And then the moon's going to finish off with a square to Uranus in Taurus. And it's a very mercurial day with the sun at 5 too. Like lots of information is coming out. Lots of deeper aspects are coming to the surface that and you don't want to hide your most authentic truth and the future that you want. Like this is where you gotta pull the trigger and let certain things kind of start to fade, so that really beautiful things can come in, and it can be like a rise up, like the Phoenix moment, in many ways. And we're also going to have Venus and Jupiter in their exact sextile on Thursday too, and it is a Jupiter day. And I think that, gosh, we're talking about a lot of fixed energy, but we're talking about too this Venus that really does want to bring us some joy and jovialness and happiness, and it's there for us. It really is, but we have to have this sort of openness to the unpredictability and the decisions that many of us have to make in life, to follow our heart, to follow our passion, to follow our soul through intense times. Very intense day. We're going to feel Wednesday and Thursday a lot. And this is going to be some of the deepest like character tests of are you really being true to yourself or not? And the moon's going to be making great aspects to the nodes. So it's like, are you in your truth and shining from that space or not? It's going to sextile over to Chiron in Aries as well. Big day on Thursday. Friday, we are going to see the sun at 6 degrees. Brings up sort of that Libra, Venus energy. Venus is going to be pulling off of the sextile to Jupiter. So I think, Friday we feel a little bit better. If we're true, and if we're, expressing ourselves fully with a moon in Leo and not holding back, our shine and our depth, and what's going to be, what the bonds can be and what the passion is, so it's really, especially when you get the sun in Scorpio and a moon in Leo, like it is just like everything has to be from the heart and from the passion. If it doesn't have love and passion, does it even have value or connection? No, it doesn't. And that's why this fixed energy is so important, because it's all of that. It's the love, the value, the connection, the depth, the passion, the intimacy, that all that is just like everything. So we have to have it for ourselves. We have to have that compassion for others too, as we are seeing Venus and Juno and still pulling off of that, and Venus, that Neptune square, and the Venus Jupiter. It's like, wow, there's so much beauty out there that's trying to surround us, but we can still be choosing to go through darkness, even though the darkness is showing, it's rearing its ugly head up, and we give every chance to change that if we want to. And then we're just going to see Mercury, Quincunx, Neptune, and it's just like right back to that weird energy of a Neptune in Pisces quincunxing this Libra energy, where you can't even weigh out your intuition, you can't even weigh out your spiritual essence, or this like completely, you know, the collective, you know, consciousness to something that's on scales. Like, you just have to know your direction and know what's going to bring you beauty and balance and connect to like-minded energy, and you have to make decisions. But God, that is like one of the weirdest energy for making a decision at the same time. Like, Libra already like is an energy that's like, well, let me check this out. No, let me check this out. What do you think? Let's talk about this. Let's be diplomatic. And Neptune's just like, fuck it. It'll all work itself out. God has a plan. So there's this like weird aspect where it's like we're all trying to figure out this direction and have things understood to bring beauty and balance in. And at the same time, like, yeah, God does have a direction. There's something amazing right now for people that are willing to make these big spiritual decisions. And we have Saturn at 7, and we have the sun getting one day away from squaring that Saturn, which is at a very divine, spiritually attuned degree in Scorpio. So the veil's thin. Like, you can connect big time. And I think Friday is a good day to really find the beauty and the connection, and to make sure that you're not selling yourself short or not putting your heart into it 100%. And in the morning and late, you know, depending on where you are, it's going to square that Uranus. So it's just like, wow, this is the crazy direction I'm going. Didn't expect that to be the one, but maybe you did. Saturday's the big day of the week, with a sun square Saturn on Saturn day. Mars is Ingress at 7:21 a.m. on the West Coast into Scorpio, and it's just like a whole new level of intensity. And we're going to see the moon come in and sextile that at 00 of Virgo with Regulus, and then Mars comes into its home. It loves it here, and it's going to sextile Regulus too with the moon. And there's just like this beautiful essence of knowing how to bring order to the chaos of the world, or to bring order to the fear, and to get the ball rolling with practical things about the decisions you need to make to hold your highest frequency in physical form, but to do the things, to not give up your passions, to hold true to what is like the deepest core of you and the direction that you need to go. And it's also, you know, I feel like this is where things are like, are they going to survive? You know? It has that essence. But it's like God coming through with Mercury and Quincunx to Neptune, and the sun at 7 and Saturn at 7 in square. It really is God is going to come through and be like, hey, trumpet call. What are you doing? Why are you doing that to yourself? And you're going to have to be really, really honest with yourself. And the more honest you are with yourself, the more the download's going to make sense, and the more power and regalness you will have to get the ball rolling and to organize where that direction's going and to mold it and shift it. And I feel like just be like, yep, this is it. I got it. So, I mean, what a day. I think it's a beautiful day. I love the 7 degrees very much, because I welcome a high spiritual energy every day. And I just think that Saturday brings that, but it brings it with like responsible. This is like your biggest spiritual grown-up test. That's all. It's kind of what we're living through right now. Like your soul's biggest test. And it's like, are you going to come here to do what you know you need to do and alchemize and transmute? Or are you going to cling on to something that Pluto's going to destroy in this time-space reality? And these aspects that we thought society was going to be, or whatever, like, that's not where it's going to go. And guess what? Pluto's going to come into Aquarius in 2023 and then stay there in 2024. And we're going to start seeing, you know, really where the future's going, and it's not going to be, where anybody really predicted. We're not going to be living in Jetsons land. The future might in fact be more Uranus and Taurus, which it will be in Gemini then. But it's going to be more community based, and as we're also seeing our values get rewritten here with Uranus and Taurus as well. So wow, yeah. Oh, and also the beauty of Friday will be too that the moon will trine over to Venus and Juno. So there's definitely beauty out there, but it takes courage. And then the moon meets with Regulus and sextiles Mars, and like courage and depth and intuitive direction. It's almost like we just need to scan around and make sure that we're moving in a way that really feels like the way. And even that yacht on Wednesday kind of amplifies that too. And then we get the Sunday with the sun pulling off of the square to Saturn, and we do get the sextile between the sun and the moon early on Sunday morning as well, as we're getting ready to get into the Scorpio season, fully. And we're making the changes in our reality and shifting things around for the passion and for the decisions that we made, as we'll also see the moon quincunx Saturn, and finish off the Sunday with an opposition to Neptune. It'll also square the nodes. That's another interesting part, is right when it comes in and sextiles Mars, and we have this big thing. Oh, guess what's happening? Yeah, fate train again with the moon square the nodal axis, making the changes for your truth, for a higher spiritual frequency, for the depth and the passion and the direction that you need to go right now. Yeah, it's that time. And Sunday's dope. Sunday's like, did you make the decision, and are you ready to make the change? And let's make it happen. And we're going to see Mercury and Jupiter in their final sextile, and Mercury will come out of shadow on Tuesday at 26 degrees. No, 25 degrees. And yeah, we're out of that Mercury shadow. So all of that understanding of the direction that we can go with understanding outer sources and people, this is like the final gift. And Jupiter's direct for this one too. So the last two we had, they were both, the second time they were both retrograde, the first time Jupiter was retrograde. So this is like really the mental gift that we can all get, and something, amazing is coming through if you're willing to make the diplomatic choice for your life and really be the judge for that frequency and that expanse of your future, without all the different spells that could come in and all the matrixy stuff that are trying to tell you can't do it. This is spiritually where I think the collective has had enough of whatever the matrix is. And yeah. By the way, we haven't seen a sun in Scorpio square Saturn in Aquarius since, like 1991, 92, which there was definitely some riot energy, and we've already been seeing a lot of riot energy. So I would not be surprised if this week there was some of that kind of energy coming back up. Food for thought. I think spiritually people have had enough, and Scorpio draws the boundary, while it also, decides what gets in and what doesn't, and what needs to come up and get out. So we're in that space as well. And the moon will trine over to Uranus. So there's definitely a higher doorway, and Uranus will come to 12 degrees, which we haven't seen in a while. So that's a big one too, because I think we need to make these changes in our physical situation in life right now, so that we can reap the abundance that we want. And it comes through sort of like, whoa, that's an interesting change I didn't think I was going to make. And of course that gets Saturn and Uranus tighter. They are in a 5-degree orb now, so they are definitely ratcheting up, like I mentioned. And then of course, Monday, Tuesday, Mercury will start squaring Pluto again. So yeah, wow. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. I truly appreciate you all. November's wild. We're going to see Mars and Saturn square. We're going to see Uranus oppositions. We just got to get ready. I think that this is a big week, a powerful week that's trying to really help us spiritually and from the depth of our soul make some of the biggest decisions in our personal life that we need to, and as on a collective level. But we got to remember to do these things for ourselves too first. That's super important. And it's not easy, so I don't think that this is an easy week, but I think it has so much benefit. And Saturn, it's important to remember Saturn does give, rewards. Saturn doesn't give participation trophies. Saturn, you have to put the work in and do the things and do the deep work and the transmutation of life right now to find beauty and to find the expanse that we can, have in this life. But it's not just like necessarily going to be shown like this is where you have to go into the deep. What you know about rolling down in the deep, that kind of energy is this week. But there's rewards and there's beauty and there's abundance for anybody willing to make those things happen in their life. And next year, with these nodal shifts and South Node Scorpio, I was talking to Alex, Coyote Star Astrology, and we were like, yeah, next year feels like an entire year of Pluto's, of Scorpio season. I was like, yeah. It absolutely has that energy, like when you feel into it. So we got to prepare now. Big decisions. It's a big time to be alive. I don't want to gloss over this astrology and just be like with a, Venus square Neptune, like everything is just going to be fine. These are some of the biggest decisions we all have to make. And I'm right there with you. I'm not immune. I am totally going through changes in my life. So we got to do these things, We got to make it happen. Let's see what some tarot gives us for the week. What's up, everybody that joined in on the live? I truly appreciate you all for being here with me. What a time to level up. It is a level up week. It's not fun though. It's not like I feel like it's shadow work that will have the greatest payout ever. But we have to be willing to do the shadow work. Ace of Swords this week. Yes. There's something so powerful about this direction and the understanding that we can have and just like piercing through the veil and not going backwards. Like we don't want to go backwards into a system that is clearly corrupt, clearly showing its deterioration left and right. Like we got to look at new ways forward, and I think we've all seen what that can look like in our personal life, and let's go there. Like there's something moving this week. I love that yod to the moon in Cancer, a dignified moon getting a yod from the two benefics. And then even with the square to the sun and making good aspects to the nodes, and then coming into Virgo to sextile Mars that just came into Scorpio. It's a fated week on so many levels that could be scary, but only scary if you're not willing to go in the direction that you just know it. This card says you know it, and it's time to pierce into that direction. And we got that because of the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Like, that's the thing, is what we thought was the ultimate physical world isn't gonna be that. It's just not. It's not gonna be that. So why are we gonna hold on to that energy when we know there's a new direction that's better, that's opening things up? There's great things out there and great aspects that can be built and come together, but it's probably not what we thought was the ultimate thing. And the overall for this is the Justice card. I love that. There's going to be justice served and balance brought into your life, no matter how deep or dark or intense or heavy that this week could possibly feel. Because it's intense astrology, there's beauty and justice on the other side. There's something about this week, about the decisions that are going to put you into your center, that are going to put you into perfect balance. But it's going to be, we don't get into balance just right off the bat. Like it's going to feel like things are shifted, But I would say that this is saying that if you're willing to pierce into a new direction, there is justice coming into your life and balance will be served to you. So it's very important. Love you all. Appreciate you all so much. I'm going to call it for this episode, this weekly live. And yeah, I'll see you for the weeklies. I just am sending you all my love and best. I do think that this is a week where spiritually, I mean, just there's a higher way, there's a better way, there's something more out there, but we have to transmute things in life to get there. We have to break chains. We have to let go of ideals that are not, part of something bigger and something more that you came here for. So, sending you all my best. Love you. Catch you next time. Peace.